Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fridays with
Ooh, ooh,
Neen.
ooh, ooh, ooh. Fridays with me. Fridays with me. Every day is Fridays with me.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
I busted that out last week during my class.
I love
We
that,
are children of the 90s.
right? Oh my God, it's the best. I love doing the robot. How are you, Steph? Happy freaking Friday.
Happy Fridays with Neen, everybody, and to you especially, Neen. I'm great. I
Yes.
love this. I love Fridays with Neen. I can't wait
Aw.
to talk about what it is you're going to talk about, and the fact that it's Friday and it's a holiday. Happy Veterans Day, everybody. Thank you for
Yes,
your service. So is this where you would say
absolutely.
thank you to Tony? Because he's a veteran. Okay.
Exactly.
I always want to be
So
like correct.
I know, because it's kind of everybody always thinks like Memorial Day,
Yeah.
but Memorial's more so for, I think, the people that we lost
Okay.
during wars and stuff.
Hmm.
Whereas Veterans Day is anybody that enlisted in any
Served.
form
Okay.
of, our
Okay.
military. So,
Well, on behalf of all of us, thank you, Tony.
yes. Thank you, love. And thank you, everybody, for your service. Because, hell, and that's the thing, regardless if you like were active in the military
Uh-huh.
or if you just enlisted, and hell, because a lot of people can't just enlist. Like, that takes a lot because at any given time, we can go to war. Look at where we are now.
Oh my
And,
God.
you sign up for education and there you are on the battleground. So, it
Seriously.
takes a certain type of person to just have the courage to enlist and know the risks that come with it. So
It,
everybody's a
yes.
hero in my book that can do that. So
And in Canada, I think they refer to it as Remembrance Day. Like it's really
mm-hmm,
big
mm-hmm,
in like it's a huge deal in Canada.
totally.
I've noticed. I didn't know this until I married my beautiful US citizen Canadian wife.
Mm-hmm. I
But it's
love it.
big. It's like,
Yeah.
dare I say, like they celebrate it more than we do in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard it. I don't know where that came across, but I read up on that, and it is a huge day for them, and
Mhm.
it's crazy because like honestly, I really think that we don't treat our military
No,
good enough. I
no.
think anybody that goes to war, especially and fights for a country, should be given everything and then some and never have to be without for the rest of their lives,
Amen to that.
hands
Like
down.
they just like turn them loose and like figure it out and like
Mm-hmm.
PTSD,
Yeah,
counseling, anything.
exactly.
Bueller? No.
Yeah.
It's awful.
And another thing that I was talking about with someone a couple weeks ago is, at times of war when people aren't even from this country
Yeah.
and have been promised, citizenship in
Hmm.
exchange for fighting for us.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of people think that's going to happen and then it never does and they're still waiting.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Disgusting.
It's a requirement on your
Uh-huh.
citizenship application. Are you a male between the ages of 18 and 26, or were you living in the US between these ages? And if
Hmm.
so, provide your selective service information. And if you didn't, you have to provide like this whole like statement because I didn't know until I worked in the immigration field and prepared these forms that that was a requirement. I just didn't know. It was like,
Hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so, as do many people.
Hmm.
Like you
Yeah.
get here, you're scared, you don't know what's going on. The furthest thing from your mind is, oh, let me verify. I mean, if anything, they'll probably
Right.
think that it's just the right of a US citizen. So
Right.
it's
Exactly.
totally honest mistake. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's to
Yeah.
promise them something and then be like, never mind. Thanks for your service. Bye.
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
No. Do better, US, because honestly, I'm sorry. It would take a lot for me to go to
Yeah.
another country, let alone our own. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you have kids or whatever the situation is, right? But to go to another country or fight for another country that's not even yours, it's like, okay, if that doesn't tell you that they're willing to like throw it down for our peeps, uh, I don't know what else you got to do, you
Well
know?
said. Well said.
But anyways, how's everything else, Steph?
Everything else is really good. I started a new dance series. It's very challenging. Monday nights.
Really?
Yes, but it scares me, but I'm
Uh-huh.
excited. If that,
Aw.
like, I like being scared and challenged,
Mm-hmm.
like, and things. So
Oh, I love
it's
it.
cool. And we're just hanging out, getting ready for cozy season. It's
Mm,
November. It's the beginning of November, and I want this month to last longer than the others have. So,
I
but
hope so.
yeah,
How many
everything,
days are in November?
isn't
30?
it like 30? Yeah, 30.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, because we're already hitting like the middle part
I know.
almost of
Shh.
November. And like when I think about like
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving is literally a week, 2 weeks away.
Because I don't have to go back to work until December, like
Dang.
physically in the office, because next week there's a conference. The following week is we're remote again because of the holiday.
Wow.
So yeah. Hi, December. You're here.
Man. Oh my gosh. This year's flying, people. If you haven't heard us say it enough.
It's flying. We have allergies. We have
Hmm.
ailments. Neen, please tell everyone listening, like, the status of how you're feeling today.
I'm feeling better. My psyche is actually a lot better today.
Mm.
My mental health is benefiting
Yay.
from just feeling better. So I could walk. I have a limp, a
Ugh,
gangsta limp,
a gangsta lady.
but I'm leaning a little.
I
That's what
love
I
it.
told your mom yesterday. And
Yeah.
then I go, but oh man, it's just like not being able to like just get up and go. I think that's what's killing me most is like my mom did the grocery shopping and I went to buy or get an apple earlier. And it's not the ones that I just cut up, but every single apple in the bag had bruises.
No.
And I go, Mother, what do you do? Like, and she goes, oh, was it the prepackaged one? I go, no. See, I don't buy prepackaged shit.
Mm-mm.
I have to individually pick my fruit.
Thank you.
I don't care if I'm there for hours. I need to make sure there's no bruises and it just, you know what I mean? I don't care if it looks, imperfect, like you get imperfect fruit foods, right?
Mm,
I don't care, but it needs to be like,
not bruised.
yeah, without any marks. Like,
Like, yeah,
ugh,
that's an
I can't
insult.
handle
I would just
smushy.
throw it in the trash or use it to
Thank you.
make a simmer pot, because I ain't eating that shit. Or bananas with bruises, you need to exit stage left. Like, that's an
Yeah, I mean,
insult.
I don't eat bananas, period, but it's just I can't do it. What's your favorite apple?
I like a Granny Smith because it's nice and
Okay.
sour. But
Ooh,
lately
okay.
I've liked the pink lady, whatever. Like, it's really
Hmm.
crunchy. And
Yes.
there's another crunchy red one. Because all I want, honestly,
Hmm.
is just a plain, a red apple, like the kind Snow
Hmm.
White got poisoned with, like
Oh
that, like
yeah,
basic red
absolutely.
apple. But every time I get
Hmm.
one, it's fuzzy inside.
Oh, I hate that crap.
So
That
like
makes me
so
pissed.
what is it? Because it's not the one that's
Hmm.
like with some yellows in it. What's that apple called? It's
Um,
popular.
yeah, Presley did a report on that one.
Get her on the
What?
horn.
I know. What was that? Where's my lifeline? It's not, it's Honey Crisp, I know is one. That's my favorite. That's the one
Ooh.
that's red, but it has a
Where do you
little
get
bit of
it?
greenish. I get that at Safeway. You could get it anywhere, but they're the
Okay.
big ones and they're juicy
Honey
and they're
crisp.
like not really sweet, but not really sour because I can't handle green apples. I don't do green apples. I can't stand green
You know
apples.
why you know why I like them? I like
Hmm.
them because they're always going to be crunchy. Like, no matter
Hmm.
what. It doesn't
True.
matter how old it does not matter how long they've been chilling in the bowl. They're going to be
True.
crunchy.
True, true. No, that's true. I mean, I think you know what? I think a Granny Smith is did she do a Granny Smith? I don't know. I'll have to ask her and get back to you.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I don't like apples from a tree, like an axe, like someone's tree in their front yard. I can't do that. I'm
Mm-mm.
always afraid there's going to be a worm. So I don't need to bite into something and having something like crawl like in my face.
Ooh. You know what? I think the basic one is called a cosmic crisp apple,
Ooh,
because I'm on an Apple website right now.
shoot,
Fuji
I would
apple.
just,
Fuji apple's
Fuji.
the one that's all
Fuji is
like
always
the
good.
rage. But
Mhm.
and then Gala, I don't I'm looking for the honey. Ooh.
Mhm. Are you looking at
Okay.
Honeycrisp?
I am. Oh, sorry. Yes, I am. There's one called Red Delicious. Now that one looks like the
Ooh,
fuzzy bitch. Oh, it's
yes.
not.
No, that one is the fuzzy bitch.
Okay,
That's
so
the
that's the
that's
fuzzy
the
bitch.
red one. But those
Okay.
are nice and sweet. If you can get a good one, I don't even know where you would get a good one.
Ooh.
They're tasty, but
Look look how sexy the Crimson Delight
ooh,
looks. That second one on the
hello.
bottom. Like, I want to buy her
Okay.
dinner.
Okay, for real.
Now
You
I
got a
want an
twin?
apple, caraja.
For real. Now I'm wondering what Presley hold on. Let me yell for her. Hold on.
Okay. Guys, Google apples and then look at the different types. They're bountiful. It's in alphabetical order.
Oh, see, chances are she's not going to remember what it was, but she's coming.
Oh, you guys look.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, she has a turban on.
Hi.
Hi, baby.
I have a question.
Mhm.
What was the apple that you did for, I think it was Mrs. Rose's class? What was your favorite apple or the apple that you had to,
I don't know. I don't know. I
was
think
it,
it was
which one did you say, Steph? A gala?
The
No,
gala apple. There's also the pink lady.
pink
something like a
lady,
golden apple.
Ooh,
Or
ooh.
no, wait, no.
golden apple. I
I
can't.
could have sworn it was something like a little golden apple.
Okay, look it up and then text
Golden
me.
Delicious?
What do you mean?
Golden Delicious?
I don't know.
Yeah, go
Okay.
look it up and then have Tony text me
Mm.
because it's going to bother me now because they're really good apples. Or even like, what is that one called? It's like a peach or no, a pear and an apple, apple pear.
Oh yeah. I've never
Those are
tried.
really good.
I don't like pears.
Oh, you don't?
I know. I
Oh,
know.
interesting. That's new. How come? Why don't you like
I just
pears?
never I don't trust the way they look. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't they don't look
Okay.
sexy like an apple does. And apples are pretty sexy if you want to like think about the types of
True.
fruits out there. Like a nectarine is sexy.
Ooh, that's for sure. See, I like a plum.
See, plum is reliable. Plum will get you going.
It will.
No,
And I
that's
just, I,
prunes.
I just, oh, God help me. No, I don't
Ah.
like anything in the raisin family.
Oh, me neither, except for grapes in their natural form.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I'm okay. What's your favorite grape?
Gosh. Now there's so many because I am a
Hmm.
basic bitch and I like
Hmm.
sour green ones. Just give me the green ones, okay?
Uh-huh.
But sometimes I like a red grape, but now there's like cotton candy grapes and all
Oh,
kinds of different
yes.
variations of grape. And it's like
So
I'm
good.
confused. What's
I
yours?
love, my favorite are moondrops.
Okay, see, now I need to go get these apples and these grapes because you never
Hmm.
steer me wrong. So, did you guys note that down in your notebooks?
Yes.
Things to get. Now,
Yeah.
are these
Okay.
year round?
They are from July to September, and they have them at Trader Joe's, but they
Okay.
also have them at Safeway. But I've never seen them in our area, like or like in the San Francisco Bay Area, only
Okay.
where I live now.
Okay.
But these suckers are like this
Huge.
big, and they're purple, and
Oh,
they're like oblong.
long, right? You've
Uh-huh.
talked to me about them.
They are the best grapes I have ever, like literally, they are the food of the gods.
When I go to your house, because I
Mm-hmm.
want to go to your house and
Mm-hmm.
stare at you, I want
Yes.
these grapes and I want these apples and I want the kettle chips there. I threw that in
Oh,
for good measure.
yes. Ooh, kettle chips. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna find some. Hopefully they're still in season. We're because we're past September. They are so good. You will be addicted.
Oh my God. But then I can't because I can't get them.
I know that's true. I'll send you some.
Oh, that's love.
But anyways, our topic other than fruit today, is gonna be about something Steph and I actually were talking about earlier this week in just random conversation. And it's funny because when you brought it up, I was at a party before my accidente,
Oh,
and we were
yes.
talking about this, like a group of us girls. And we were like just sitting there trying to figure out why. Like, why does this topic even come up? But it's very, very common. And that is competitiveness against or amongst women.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like it's something that's necessary, but it
Human
happens so
nature.
frequently. Yeah, exactly. It's something that's kind of ingrained in us since we were younger. You know,
And
we've noticed it on the playground.
but like why
Mhm. That's
is the
that is the
question.
golden question.
I want an
because
apple. Don't say golden anymore. I'm hungry.
ooh, do you like peanut butter on your apple?
No, I'm
Oh my
boring. I
God,
don't
have
like
you tried
mixed.
Nutella on your apple?
No, I like Nutella on a spoon or a waffle.
No, Steph, Nutella on your green apple?
Really?
So freaking good. And I never thought I would like that.
Okay, but do you like apples in your salad? Because
Oh, no.
okay, good. At least we can still be best
No.
friends.
But I like it in
Okay.
my tuna
Okay, you need to stop. That's
and grapes in
sick.
my tuna.
That is disgusting. Oh
Oh,
my.
wait, no, not in my tuna. My chicken salad. Sorry. It is so good. And I never thought I would like that.
Well, it makes sense because lots of people like apples in salad. Sorry, we're
Mhm.
going back to
Yeah,
apples.
sorry.
Go. Yes, but like the
Yeah.
golden apple question
Oh,
is
yes, exactly. So
why?
why? Okay. So sorry, I keep thinking about apples. Um, so anyways, my first question out the bat is, are you, Steph, competitive?
I mean, I catch myself, it used to be worse when I was in my 20s. I don't know, maybe because
Mm-hmm.
I had something to prove.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes like it'll like pop up, but and you know where I see it is at work. Like
Mm-hmm.
and it's because maybe this is why. At work, okay, I saw it a lot when I worked in the immigration law firm. And I think
Mm-hmm.
this is why I didn't have a degree back then. And I worked myself from like the bottom. I started as the receptionist and then I
Mm-hmm.
proved myself and I did things to like show that I was capable of doing more. And then I got
Mm-hmm.
hungry for it. So then I was promoted and then I was promoted again and again. But I was always treated like crap because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a degree. So like Joe Schmo will walk through the door and like because he has a bachelor's from whatever the fuck, he was
Mm-hmm.
automatically better than me, even though it was up to me to train Joe Schmo, and he got paid more. And so like that was what I was always dealing with. So I had that in me. It was like
Mm-hmm.
I had to prove that I was the best.
Yeah.
And then
No.
now at work, like I'm at a totally different place. But see, they
Mm-hmm.
kind of, I don't want to say they pin people against one another because I like my coworkers. It's more like we have a staff meeting
Mm-hmm.
at the end of every month, and then they do
Mm-hmm.
shout outs and they're like
Mm-hmm.
they go and they talk about like so and so and then like everyone else's chopped liver, like if you're not like so
Yeah.
that kind of makes you feel like you have to like work even
Prove
harder.
yourself.
And it was
Yeah.
really like, and it was also like me, being Latina without a degree back then, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone coming in with their degrees. We're all
Mm-hmm.
white. We're all like bilingual because they lived for a year in the foothills of Guatemala and got to do
Or
that.
España.
Uh-huh. Oh. And then they got paid more than me and they were
Mhm.
treated way better than me. So like that's where that comes from for me. But what about
Mhm.
you?
I'm not competitive at all. And the reason why I'm not is because of my dad. And I think my dad always told me that no matter where I go and no matter what job I get, you want to get it with dignity. Now, I do know that you could still be competitive and have dignity, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just the way you go about it. Are you going to go about it the shady way? Or are you going to go about it because you want to prove how good you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I totally and completely understand where you're coming from in the sense of not having a degree when you did and having to feel like you had to prove yourself and you felt the like onset of this competition between you and the new guy that just graduated,
Mm,
right? And has like 5 lines on his resume, but you have 2 pages on yours, right? Of all the things that you've done. But
yes.
because he has the degree, they're going to pick him and pay him more, which I personally believe is a bunch of shit,
Mm-hmm.
like in my eyes. And I think the beautiful thing about you and the fact that you do have your bachelor's now, but you could still like you have empathy for those that don't, or you know what it felt like, you know, and all your hard work is paying off,
Mm-hmm.
right? When it should have paid off 10 years ago because of your freaking talents. and your
Mm.
smarts. And I think that's really what's wrong. And honestly, I was talking to your mom yesterday about that and how I was telling her, I was like, thinking about maybe looking for a job, like, I don't know, like something more steady, right? Um, Presley's older now. Like, I want to just get out there and actually just do something, right? But be picky about it. But it's
Mhm.
crazy the stuff that I see online, like the jobs. I'm like, stuff that I could do like with a blindfold, right? And they require a bachelor's. Like
Mhm.
they won't even look at you.
Mhm.
And it's like insulting to where I'm like, whatever, I don't even want to work for a business if you would actually judge me off of that when I clearly have the experience, right? So I totally understand where you're coming from when you say you felt like you had to be because of what you were standing against,
Mhm.
right? But for me, I've never, for myself, like I've been in situations where, hell, if I would have kissed people's ass or try to fight my way to get to the top, I probably would have in some of the places that I was in. People liked me. I think I'm a very like honest, sweet, kind worker. Like, when I work for a place, I dedicate myself to that job. I go full throttle, and I'm not going to be one of those people that is going to be like, well, oh, 5 o'clock, gotta go. I don't care. I don't,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Or, oh my God, it's my lunchtime. I'm not like that. Like, if it
Or my
means I have to
favorite,
work, what?
it's not in my job description.
Okay.
Because I
See?
come across that all the time. It's like, do the work. Like I do the work of like
Exactly.
5 people. Like, why are we like that? What is that?
Right. I don't know. And I think that just shows like where we've come from and like where like things that were ingrained in us as we were like younger.
Mhm.
You do your job, you don't ask questions. Obviously, you don't want to be like stepped on and, taken advantage of. But and if that's the case, then you go and talk to your superior, right? But at the same time, like if it's not going to hurt me or if it's not a big deal, I don't care if I have to work or help someone with something. If anything, that's another thing to add in my resume, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not going to complain about you giving me the opportunity to learn something new. Okay,
Right.
that's just oh, you want me to take out the trash? Okay, I could put janitorial services on my resume.
Exactly. You should I have to be careful what I'm saying, but yeah, it's
Hmm.
maybe they were burned in the past and that's the
Right.
residuals, but I refuse to be that. Like,
Hmm.
I am working through like because I still have trauma from immigration.
Hmm.
I mean, I was in it for 14 years.
Hmm.
So I still have the trauma and I'm
Of
dealing with it.
course.
But it's I don't want to be that. I don't want to be bitter. I don't want to be like, "Oh, you can't ask me to do anything." Like, no,
Hmm.
work.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing, especially when you look at coworkers, and
Yes.
the fact that they don't do shit, and you're over there busting your ass and bending over backwards for Peter, Harry, and Larry, right? And,
Mhm.
Sally Sue's over there popping chips and, smacking her gum and playing solitaire, because she's done
Yeah.
all her work and she ain't doing any more. Like, no, right? But those are the people too that will be competitive or be shady or be very petty about things. And I think
Mhm.
that's where the competitiveness comes in, or the nastiness, especially amongst women. Because I honestly, in every job that I've ever been, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong or if you've experienced something different, but I have never seen men be as petty.
No.
They definitely can have that like alpha male vibe, right? But I've never seen them say, "Oh shit, Mary just came in 5 minutes late. She's
Never.
always late." Or look at, she came a minute late. She's leaving at this time. But
Never.
you will always see women do that to
Oh,
like
yeah.
other coworkers.
So many times. And
Mhm.
it's just like, ew, bitch. I would never do that. It's like,
No.
I mean,
Mm-mm.
sure, I've like participated in office, tea. Like if someone's like talking
Oh
shit,
yeah.
because you never
Hmm.
know. That could come bite you
Oh.
in the butt. So I'm
Hmm.
an ear, like, oh shit, really? But I'm not gonna be like, oh, guess what? Never. You
Be
won't
like, I
catch me
know.
slipping. Mm-mm. I'll text it to
Exactly.
you, but like,
Right. And that's the
no.
thing is like I've always like for me, I never make friends a, at work. Like in the beginning of like maybe my careers, like I would be like, oh yeah, they're cool, let's hang out. But then as I've gotten older, like I feel like and I get a vibe of certain people when I first start a job. And I'm like, okay, I could trust them, and that's who I stick with, right?
Yeah.
Because when worse comes to worse, okay, and it's either me or them, chances are people will throw your ass under the bus if it means their job, you
Yeah.
know, and every man for themselves.
Hmm.
And, for me, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to work and get my paycheck and then spend the time with my family, you know?
Exactly.
And I think that, like, when it comes, though, to competitiveness in the workplace, it's just sad because a lot of women, I mean, I was, one thing I hate, and this is a huge thing for me, is when you do see a woman in power, like they're at the top, but they do not treat other women
Mm.
with respect, but they treat all the men around them, their
Equal.
superiors or their equals. Oh my God. And then, Sally, who's her assistant, or even, maybe a little bit below her in her
Hmm.
title, she's like, oh, and won't even bat an eye.
That was, yeah, I've
Hate
been
that
through that.
crap.
I've totally been through
Oh,
that. It
yeah.
sucks.
Hmm.
It's not a pretty, and then it kind of fills you with like, but you're
Hmm.
at the end of the day, I still did my job. Well, you have to,
Exactly.
but
It is,
it's
but it
funny.
it creates like an animosity in people, and I think that's where the whole thing of like workplace toxicity comes in, is because you're only as good as like your top level, like senior employees. If they're going to be arrogant and they're going to be snotty and treat the people at the bottom, who are the ones that are actually doing all your work and making your job easier, right? But if you're treating them a certain way, you're creating an environment that is just not going to be good for anybody, you know? And I think that's the problem, is like you never want to feel as though you're lower than someone just because
Yeah.
your pay scales aren't at the same, level.
Yeah.
And you feel that a lot, and I think that's where a lot of women, especially like some of the places where I worked, it's just like you get that pettiness, or you get like people that don't want to try for positions, right? But they get mad when someone else gets a position, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, did you see who was hired? Well, of course they
Yeah.
were, but did you try? you know
Exactly.
you know
Oh my God. Yes. All of this. I've seen all of this in every job.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I'll tell you something. I was married to my first husband, right?
Hmm.
And we went to a taqueria, right, over by in Daly City. And it was right when In and Out had first opened, or was
Okay.
opening, and they were hiring people.
Ooh, that
And
taqueria right by the nail shop.
yes,
That
exactly.
is delicious. Okay, keep going.
So there was a girl there that we had befriended, and she would speak Spanish to my husband at the time, and they would talk about God knows what, right? So I'm like, oh. So one day she talks to him and says, and I understood what she was saying, and she goes, oh yeah, they're hiring at In and Out, and I was thinking of applying. And he goes, oh, that's cool. She goes, yeah, but I'm only going to apply for the janitor positions because they only hire white people for the cashiers.
That's awful.
And I'm like, but the way she said it, right? It irritated me only because I was like, I said, because she didn't know I understood her, right? And so I looked at her and I said, but wait, did you try? Did you apply for that job? Because to me, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Chinese, whatever. If you don't apply for it, to me, you can't say that. Of
Yeah, you can't
course,
talk shit.
you can generalize and say, okay, across the board, this is what it is, right? I mean, we see that every day with people being treated unfairly due to their race or whatever, gender, all that
Mhm.
stuff. And it's big, right? But to me, you don't have a right to say anything in any situation if you haven't tried. So
Yeah.
if you're putting yourself in that position, don't get mad because you weren't hired for the cashier if you didn't even try out
Yeah,
for
because how
it.
did they know that you were even interested in the cashier position? Like, they're not mind
Exactly.
readers. I mean, it's just an
Exactly.
assumption.
hmm And I think it's the same thing when you are in a job and you're competing with other women or other people, you know, and jobs come up and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I didn't get it. Or, they would have never hired me.
Mm,
Well, how do you know that? You didn't even apply. And
it's
it's this constant vicious cycle of just angst and there's certain places, certain types of jobs that carry these types of, just animosity in the workplace. And for me, though, I have a question, and that is when you see someone, do you feel like when you're more attractive, do you think that more attractive people get better positions?
ooh. Um, Ew. Like a leggy, big boobed blonde woman or
So
whatever.
like say you're at the front desk, right? And you're working the front or whatever, or you're working and you're doing recruitment and you see all of the candidates, right?
Yes.
And you have maybe a 50-year-old woman who has a lot of experience, but she's maybe not as, fit and, not as spring of a chicken, right? And then
Yeah.
you have Sally Sue come in who's, wears tight clothes, high heels, blonde hair, like, looks like
If
she
sh
just came from the gym. Like, do
Yeah.
you think that people hire people by solely their appearance?
No, I don't think that they can unless said person has the
Right.
same qualifications or better than the
Mm-hmm.
50-year-old. Because
Mm-hmm.
then they'd look stupid. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it's pretty obvious. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, if the blonde doesn't have nearly the same amount of experience or is lacking in some areas, at least in the
Mm-hmm.
legal field, like, oh my God, no.
And I think, and it's funny because I think that I have been in a couple places myself where I've seen that, where I've seen, you see like people's resumes and you're like, oh, wow, right? But someone comes in and maybe they're cute and it's a guy that's hiring and, oh, okay, right off the bat, they hire them.
Hmm.
You know, those kind of things makes you wonder. And I think like more private sectors can get away with it more than like a
Yes.
county job or, a city job or at the state, it's different.
I once worked at a law firm where they would look at like the schools,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, well, so and so got a bachelor's from this UC as opposed to this one. Like, so I've seen it there, like with
Mm-hmm.
the
Wow.
schooling, but like both candidates have the same things to bring to the table, which are
Mm-hmm.
great, but like that's like
Right.
the dividing factor. So I think
Mhm.
that could be like kind of like
Oh,
looks, you
totally.
know?
Exactly. Because I mean, honestly, like, should it matter what school you go to? I mean, I
I
know that comes
never
with certain, oh,
know.
Stanford, even though I love that campus, but even though, like, or Harvard, or, all these places,
There's
yeah, it's a
crazy people
name.
that go there too.
Okay.
It's like some of the most brilliant people that I know um graduated from, a local law school, and
hmm
they're like the best
Oh,
at what they
completely.
do.
hmm
And I don't and then I've met people in the same field that have gone to Yale and they're like
hmm
struggling. You know what I mean? So it's like I
Yes.
don't think it should matter.
It shouldn't. I mean, because, exactly. Or even someone that passed the bar in their first shot, but maybe compared to someone that passed the bar like their seventh time,
Exactly.
maybe one's
Exactly.
more successful and maybe wasn't good at take, they got
Taking
nervous.
tests. I mean, do we need to talk about Zach Morris getting the SATs, the perfect SAT
Exactly.
scored? He never cracked a book in his day in his life, but
hmm
Jesse Spano
Yeah.
cracked under the pressure. So
hmm
there, that's,
Exactly.
it could have been a
Completely.
fluke passing the
hmm
bar.
Oh, totally. And I think, when you think of it, it's not just the workplace. Like, workplace is broad because there's so many things that could happen, right? But also, even like when you look at, not like even like for me, like a hairstylist, the competitiveness amongst stylists is insane. And
I
honestly, that is one of the reasons why I don't want to work in a salon is
oh,
because people are crazy. Like it's like, you know, oh my gosh, don't, you're kind of hiding your trait or your secrets or your skills because you're afraid someone's gonna take
steal
it.
them and
Yeah,
well, because it happens.
it does. I mean, I'm sure you get that in Zumba.
Oh, forever. Like for
Mhm.
over 13 years it's happened to me. And
Mhm.
I was talking to Angel about it, about like what I were talking about in my past and how
Mhm.
badly I got burned and how it still affects me.
Of course.
And it's like it's everywhere. It's and
Mhm.
you know where it kills me, Neen? It's family. Like when
Yeah.
people compete, like, oh, I'm married to like
Mm.
police officer or whatever, or
Yes.
sheriff, and we have
Mhm.
a house and a boat and a la la la. What do you have? Oh, you're in an apartment. Like
Mhm.
like that, or amongst friends.
Yes.
That's
Exactly.
ooey.
It is, and actually, that's the next one that I was gonna bring up in a family setting. Um, Even
Touchy,
against
touchy.
siblings.
Oh.
You know, because I think that, we could talk about competitiveness, and yes, it could go either way. We could be talking about a man or we could be talking about a woman. Today, we're just mainly going to be talking about women because I think that we're the ones that kind of it's more apparent sometimes with us because of how women tend to like perceive things or react,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in the family setting, I think too that it's common because even culturally, like how we heard our moms talk even about other women. Because when you think about like family settings or you think about the things when it comes to being competitiveness, like where does that come from? Where is the root cause of this? You know, when you look at someone and I'm looking at someone and I say, "Oh, I don't like her." "Oh, how come?" And I'm like, "Oh, cuz, I don't know. I just don't like her. I don't like get a good feeling. She just
Mm-hmm.
annoys me." It's purely jealousy,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to say it's like cliche, oh, because you're jealous. But when you think about it, I think a lot of times all these things are reasons why people pick on others or don't like other women or feel that, um, threat with other
Mm-hmm.
women is mainly because we look at things within ourselves that maybe we're lacking
Mm-hmm.
and we see that maybe they have. And
Mm.
that makes us look like at ourselves and be like, wow, am I doing enough? Like it
That
makes us feel inadequate in a way.
I totally relate to that,
Hmm.
especially given like what I went through at the immigration law firm.
Hmm.
I was always like, well, what makes them so much better than me? Like,
Right.
really? Like, I had a great education. It was my decision
Hmm.
to get a job out of high school and well continue working because I worked in high school. But again, that was my decision. My parents didn't force me. I wanted to work.
Hmm.
And it's like I felt so like not threatened, but I felt kind of like not worthless either, but a little bit near more closer to the word like so if I left, you'd be like
Hmm.
what?
Yeah.
Or I don't bring anything to the table. Like, I
Hmm.
had the highest case list
Yeah.
and that didn't seem to matter. I had to
Oh, of course,
train
because they
people.
because they wanted they could use and abuse you. When it
Exactly.
came down to it, oh well, you don't carry that
Exactly. It was
degree.
always that.
Hmm. And they need to stop doing that. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, because even though I can respect people, because honestly, I feel and that's the problem is that our society and even this day and age with this generation, with us, we learned how to appreciate things by through time, by what we earned, right?
Mm-hmm.
By basically climbing the ladder, that whole saying, right? You got to climb
Mm-hmm.
the ladder, but you climb the ladder so you can appreciate the top.
Yes.
And when you aren't given that same amount of time to experience things, you tend to be unappreciative of everything you've been given.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people now, especially with like the tech companies, and it's nothing against them, it's a booming, industry. Everybody has a new, like a a new business, a new idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to, a startup, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's a boss, everybody's a CEO now.
Yes.
Were you ever a receptionist? Were you ever an analyst? Were you ever an anything before becoming a CEO? To where you don't even know how to treat your staff. You don't even know how to be a middleman. You
Mm,
can't relate.
it's infuriating.
It is. And it's that I could see where the competitiveness comes in, and even like actually the way you put it puts a different turn on it, because I think a lot of times when people think of being competitive, or like in a workplace setting, a lot of people feel like, oh, it's just jealousy.
Yeah.
But we forget to the part where it's like, doesn't have to be jealousy all the time.
Right.
A lot of times it's a reflection of how the people at the top have made us feel.
Yeah. It totally messes with you, and it stays with you.
Oh, completely. It's trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And it's sad because no one should have to do that. No one should ever have to prove how good you are, because the work you do, your evaluations, that's the reason why they have them, should show
Mm-hmm.
that. But it's funny because I'm pretty sure you've seen it, because I've seen it in places where I've been and where I've worked, is that if they really want someone,
Yeah.
they will make those prerequisites for that job. They
Mm,
will take out the bachelor's this quick if they want someone,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating. It is so infuriating. But yet
Yeah.
you're not, but then those people that just aren't good enough still. And it does
Yeah.
make you look at yourself like, okay, well, why is she better than me? When you're the one training them to do what you already know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the stuff that I just can't handle in a workplace. And it's very frustrating. And
It.
even like having like a woman as your boss.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
can't do it. I can't. I've had them. I don't like
Hmm.
it.
Me neither. I'm
Like,
right there with you. So I actually real quick had done a survey on my Instagram just asking people like if they would prefer to have a female or a male boss.
yeah.
80% of the people that answered, both men and women, said that they would prefer a male boss, and only 20% said female.
Exactly.
And I'm right there with them, because the only place that I ever worked at where I enjoyed my female boss was when I was a hairstylist. And it was
Mm,
because those two were so positive and wanted like the best for me. It's
yeah.
like they knew that what they did affected me and my family. And they knew that by treating me good also brought them, you know, like clients, customers, money. Like it's a group effort. And there was never
Yeah.
this feeling of like, oh, well, I'm your boss.
Yeah.
It's like we're a team. We all work together to make this a success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it should be. But a lot of times when you have women at the top, it's a constant battle where, oh, I'm not going to teach them a lot because I don't need them to like know too much.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, how is that even a thing?
It is a thing.
Right?
I've lived it. It's just ugh, you're bringing me back there. Ew.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's infuriating. Let's see what else. So talking about family. So in your own family, did you ever get compared to like your cousins, or did you ever see your aunts like competing with one another or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that? Okay.
Yes.
See,
Still
and I
do.
did too. Yes, exactly. And I always felt like I was always being compared to my cousins in a lot of ways. And I think it was more my own insecurities that I had, because
Mm-hmm.
like for me growing up, my mom's Mexican, even
Mm-hmm.
though they're more Americanized, right? But you look at them and they all look Mexican. And then you look at me and I don't look like them at all, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there was always, for me, looking in the mirror, I was always comparing myself to what I wasn't. and looking at my cousins that had beautiful long hair and were tan and, and then I look at myself and I'm like, okay, and I would question or make myself feel as though I wasn't good enough, you
Yeah.
know? And it's not that I ever really even want to say that I even like, what's the word? Compared myself or I was in competition with them because I never was, and they never made me feel less than. But I think in families, I think that a lot of times, even since we're little,
Yeah.
that idea of competing with one another is ingrained in us because of things that we've witnessed with our moms, our grandmas, our aunts, even our uncles. And we grow up to think that that's how we're supposed to act.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes horrible, becomes bad. It's
Yeah.
because then we think that that's how it really should be in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you go different cultures have different ways of competing with one another.
Yeah.
It's like, you look at like the Latin culture and how it's like, oh, who has, even skin tone. It's crazy. Like you go to
Mm,
different countries and it's like, oh, well, the lighter skin gets more respect than the darker skin.
that's
And it's
true.
just like, and I would never think those kind of things, right? And then when
Yeah,
you talk to people and you're like, oh no, like literally it's the same. It's the same things we deal with here.
it
It's
is.
really no different, you know, or even how big of a butt you have,
Yep.
looking at your physical attributes and what you don't have, being in a relationship. And
Mm,
I think for me, I don't know, like when you were married to your first husband,
mm-hmm.
did you ever feel inadequate in any way? Like, did he ever make you feel that way, like when
No,
you were around other women or anything like
never.
that?
No.
See?
No, it wasn't until we started having like problems. Like he
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't like outwardly like treat me like crap, but
Right.
no. No. I've heard comments, from
Mm-hmm.
spouses to their
Yeah.
spouses, and it's like it
Mm-hmm.
can get gross, especially in Latin
Mm-hmm.
culture, or like, hello,
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about this before, like you calling someone gorda, like, hey gorda, and then
Mm-hmm.
or you call a skinny person that, or like you call
Mm-hmm.
a bigger person hola flaca, like
Uh-huh.
what?
Exactly. Yeah. Hell
I
no.
love your face every time.
Yeah, I'm gonna stab my eyes with like a burnt crayon. Like I can't. Because I
Yeah,
don't
but
understand where people like, and I get it. A lot of cultures do that. They have nicknames for each other. Or they pick on the thing that someone hates most, and that's their nickname.
exactly.
You
But
know,
did you experience that though with your ex-husband?
It wasn't until the end
Mm-hmm.
where um, I questioned a lot of things about myself because of the things that he brought up to me.
Yeah.
And I did catch him doing things because obviously now that we're not together, I always had an inkling that he probably had cheated on me, but he never
Yeah.
kept out to it.
Oh no, I mean, you know what happened with
Mhm.
me and my ex-husband, but like
Mhm.
literally like we were married for almost 10 years, and that
Mhm.
wasn't until like when it was getting bad, because
Mhm.
for the majority we were pretty solid.
Mhm.
Um
Exactly.
but
And
yeah.
yeah, and that's the same thing with me. But that's the thing is like, that's all it takes sometimes, like was with someone and I remember and it's crazy because guys don't understand this. I, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a guy. Maybe I should ask them. But I think that a lot of time guys don't realize that the consequences of their actions and how it could physically and mentally destroy a woman by the
Yeah.
things that they do.
Yeah.
And I was with a guy one time and we were at a supermarket and I was putting stuff on the register. And there was a girl behind me that literally had like a tube top on, her boobs were like hanging out, and she had like these tight shorts on, and she was blonde, blue-eyed, like super pretty.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I didn't really pay attention to her until he made me pay attention to her, right? So it was like I looked at him and he literally was like could not take his eyes off her to where it was uncomfortable, to where I was like, I felt like saying, "Are you serious right now? Like, I'm right here." Right. And it wasn't until then, throughout the rest of the relationship, did I feel like I always had to be aware of what he was doing
Hmm.
because I was insecure. I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay." So anytime I'd be at a restaurant and someone pretty walked by, I'd be like looking at him to see if he would look
Hmm.
because he created that in me.
Of course.
You know, and a lot of times guys don't realize and they get pissed off when people their spouse or their girlfriend are like, "Why are you so jealous? Why are you so this? Why are you so that?" But they don't realize that there was probably something in the beginning or at some point in the relationship that they created that in their significant other, because when you first meet someone, there's you don't have those feelings of, you know, insecurity or mistrust or, like judging yourself because that person picked you or you picked each other. You're madly in love with one another, right? And I think that guys don't realize how like detrimental that could be to a girl's mental state. It's
Definitely. And it
hard.
sticks with you. I feel like that would be hard to, I feel like that's something that you would potentially even carry to the next relationship or at least the beginning of it
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
that's now a thing, you know?
Mhm. Oh, completely. Because I've never, and that's the thing is like, I've never been insecure in a relationship except for that one. And I always told myself after that one, I'll never ever do that ever again, to where I'm not going to allow any guy make me feel that way. But when you've already had issues to begin with, say you grew up and you already were insecure or you had, low self-esteem, if you had something that happened and then the guy that you're with reinforces those feelings, it's just all downhill from there.
Yeah. It
And
really, there's no
right?
going up. No,
Because I don't really know what a guy could do to reverse that
no,
unless they have
nothing.
blinders and are just staring at you the whole time.
Yeah. Or they just live in a bubble or a cave.
Exactly. Because girls, no matter 50 years down the road, if you marry, girls will always remember where they were when you made them feel like shit.
Uh-huh. I still do.
Mhm. Exactly. And it's like, no matter how much a guy says, "Well, it's not like that. It wasn't like that." No, we see what we see, and it's just like, and I think that's where we as women tend to be competitive with one another because we tend to look at other girls and we see things that either we know our spouse likes or that we're insecure about. If I want a six pack, if I've always wanted a six pack, right? And I know my husband likes six packs. And, I look at another girl and she has a bomb ass six pack. I might be like, ew, you know, and I might not even know her, but a lot of girls are like that. Oh, I don't look
Yeah.
at her. She thinks she's cute. But what did she do to you? She didn't even do anything to you. She just
Yeah.
walked in
She's,
with a nice six pack,
yeah.
And I think that's something that we have to do as women, though, is instead of bringing each other down and even being threatened by other women like that, is that we have to embrace other people's beauties, other people's positive traits,
Hmm.
and lift other people up. And I think I will say this, I think that this generation is actually kind of good at that in some ways, is that I feel like the tables are kind of turning when it comes to women being very proactive about supporting other women. And
Yeah.
I hope that it gets better.
It's gonna be up to the generation that Pretzel's in,
Mhm.
because the current
Exactly.
20-year-olds are very much about like girl power and
Mhm.
lifting each other up. And
Yeah.
you know, so we'll see.
Because it should be. It should be
Yeah,
something that we all practice, and it should be
definitely.
something that, like, even I show or teach Presley to be,
Yes.
not be, what's so insecure, not be threatened by other girls or women. I think, like, even in school when you're little, like, and you see someone and they're getting good grades, you know, the other
Yeah.
person could be jealous of that, but the other person needs to realize, and I think that's something that parents need to tell their kids. There's no point to be jealous of the person getting good grades because you can too.
Yeah,
It's
but they
all about
use
how you
that.
apply yourself.
Exactly.
Hmm.
That's the perfect wording
Hmm.
because my parents never made me feel like that ever. Like, where, oh,
Mm-mm.
Sally Struthers over there is a perfect A student because she does that and just leaves it at that.
Hmm.
It would be like, oh, what you just said.
Hmm. Exactly. No, for real. And it's crazy that they even I was reading last night and it's something that I had posted, I think, is that they even have something called there's a quote for competitive attitudes that women have against each other, and it's called the not enough pie syndrome.
Oh,
And it means that they perceive that there is room only for one woman at the top. I have
oh,
never heard of that, and I
I've
actually
never heard
was
of that.
reading more into it, but it's kind of like, the alpha male. And
Ah,
basically, today, I feel like we're only, like I said, focusing on women, but I think a lot of times when a woman is at the top, they do not want any competition near them
mm-hmm.
at all. So, I don't know how common that quote is, but it was interesting to hear that there's even something that people categorize that as and have
Yeah.
something to say about it. But um I don't know. I think
Interesting.
even, when I think about even like in relationships, like even with an ex, like
Mm-hmm.
to me, the competitiveness when you break up with someone, but that person automatically gets pissed because their partner has now moved on and has a new
God
person,
forbid.
right? Exactly. But
What? They moved on?
shocker. But I think that a lot of times it's kind of like that whole thing, well, I don't want you, but I don't want
Yeah,
anybody else to have you.
exactly. Oof, we've all been in that situation.
And how freaking pathetic. To me,
Yeah.
there's nothing worse than a woman that
Yeah.
will actually, for one, fight for a man that doesn't even love them anymore. And two, um, be low enough to keep someone with them just because you're threatened by the possibility of him finding someone better
Mm-hmm.
than you, or
Mm-hmm.
that's even more attractive than you. Because chances
Barf.
chances are a lot of times it will be,
Yeah, exactly.
or younger, you
Just
know.
yeah, and also just because you stay doesn't mean he is not straying.
Exactly. And it's crazy the things that we do as women to like create these types of scenarios. And I mean, look at all the different scenarios. I mean, we've only been on here for an hour, and this happens in the workplace. It happens at in our families. It happens
Oh
in
my God,
relationships. It happens
definitely.
everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I mean, I don't know what it would take for people to stop being that way. And I think it's something that's been actually ingrained in us probably since the beginning of time. We've been
I
taught to be a
agree.
certain way. And I
Society
think,
has, even
oh
if our
yeah.
families didn't raise us to be like to have that,
Hmm.
society has forced you to be
Oh yeah,
that
for
way,
sure.
you
And
know?
I think that along the way, like, and unfortunately over like the years and years and years and time, women have always had a long history of looking to men to also determine like their self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think like in order for a woman to get ahead or, to gain approval, um, they have to elevate themselves in some way
Yeah.
and at any cost. Like, and it doesn't matter who or what they throw under the bus to get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more refreshing though than being in a place or setting where you don't have to compete with others,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel that sense of like, I don't know, just acceptance,
Mm-hmm. For sure.
and you wouldn't think it's that hard, but it is. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I think that it's something that we've all been through, both you and I have repeatedly,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Definitely.
but it's definitely something I think that we need to work on as just I don't know, a group. It's something that we just need to, like I said, start from when kids are young and just teach them to be confident. I think it's something that it's hard to do, but I think it's something that's
Yeah.
necessary,
Yeah.
especially now with social media. I think that we could teach our kids as much as we want, but it's what they see,
Mm-hmm.
like you don't even have to tell kids anything, but if they see things on the internet, they see things on YouTube, they see things on Instagram or Facebook, you know, they perceive things in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's always a competition. Oh, well, Sally does this. Oh, she gets to wear this. Her mom lets her do that, or she wears clothes like this. And if of course, when guys come in the picture and they get attention from guys, it brings on a different thing. And then they feel like, oh, well, how come I can't do that? You know?
Yeah.
So there's all these things. And I think that the bottom line, though, is I think that we all need to be nice to one another. And I think we just need to like lift each other up and not talk crap about one another. But also at the same time, Steph brought a really good point. And it's not always, competition isn't always being threatening or being jealous of things. It's also how people treat you
Mm.
and that feeling and those triggers that you have that are evoked when you're challenged.
And I think the solution there, or something that would help, would be to address it.
Mhm.
And what I mean is, like, maybe get therapy to, like,
Mhm.
help with that, because that's like, it was years,
Mhm.
and that's something I didn't even touch on. And
Yeah.
I've, been in therapy, but it's never been to talk about some of that, some of the things that I dealt with that have remained in me, and it's
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, and so I'm gonna explore that.
No, for sure. Is it something that you like literally makes you angry
Yeah,
when
for
you
I
think
feel
about it?
bad for back in the day stuff, hardworking
Mhm.
stuff, always smile on her face stuff. And maybe that's why I'm a little, like, I'm in my cubicle now at work with my curtain drawn, because I don't want to be the
Mhm.
one. Like,
Right.
let me just do my work. I'm not gonna, like,
Mhm.
train people
Yeah.
anymore.
No, and I think that's true. And also, I think that just as a whole, it's funny because looking at like these jobs and stuff, I don't know if it was Glassdoor or Indeed or something like that. It was one of these
Yeah.
platforms, but it's similar to like how Facebook is, and they have like a where you could post and people conversate and stuff. And it's so funny because when you go into the workforce and you're applying for jobs, like we're always told, make sure your resume looks good, all this stuff. And if we do our part to try to get the job, I feel like HR and companies need to do better as well to the applicants that are applying, because that too, like I feel like if I'm giving and putting my effort in to try and work for your job,
Hmm.
you reach out and people have good interviews or whatever, the least people could do is answer back
Yeah.
and say, oh, sorry, we picked someone else, right? Don't
Exactly.
let people have high hopes,
Yeah.
right? And that was one of the things that they were talking about. But there's so many things that have evolved over the years and have made people feel like certain things that sting,
Yeah.
things that worked before don't work that way no more, and things maybe that you were promised when you first started a job. I think a lot of times, especially if people are very like eager to fulfill a position or fill a position, they just want someone, right?
Hmm.
Oh, she got all the criteria that we need. Okay, uh-huh. And then you're there. Oh, and that's one of the question, is there room for growth? Oh, yeah, for sure. And then you're sitting there for 5 years. You've applied for things, you've shown them that you're capable, but like you said, other people have come along just out of school with a bachelor's. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And they get the opportunities,
Yeah.
right? When you've already proven yourself.
Time and time again.
Mhm. And it's crazy. Like I've never thought of it that way, and I find that very enlightening. Thank you, Steph. Because
Thank
it's
you.
very disturbing.
Yeah.
And it does leave like a chip on people's
Oh,
shoulder that you shouldn't
definitely.
have, you know?
Yeah. that you
because
think that you've let go of, but it rears its ugly head from time to time in different scenarios. So,
yeah, I mean, because you could walk circles around. I mean, you could run circles around these people with the amount of experience you have, and it says a lot when people are coming to you for help.
yeah.
The people that just graduated, or
Yeah,
even
hi.
people that have, that are attorneys.
Lawyers. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's crazy, and I think that we need to humanize people a little bit more and give them opportunities. Like, you know, I think there's a lot of people, especially this generation too, a lot of people are graduating, but a lot of people too are not really, a lot of people are just believing they don't have to graduate. They don't have to go to school, that they could still be successful without all
Hmm.
these degrees.
Yeah.
But hell, what's going to happen in 10 years when they do need something more solid?
Who
It ain't going to
knows?
be there.
Uh-uh.
The ones with the bachelor's degrees, because
They're
even an
gonna be
AA at this point doesn't even help.
no.
So I don't know. And also another thing is people need to give more credit to people who trade, like, that are plumbers, electricians, all that stuff. Like, I feel those are things that people just kind of push to the side, and that people are always trying to prove themselves, but heck, it's okay to do those type of jobs. It's actually, you make really good money,
Hmm.
you know, and schools need to normalize that too. Cause I wish in high school they would have stressed those things as well. Like, you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be this to be successful.
Yeah,
Right. So,
that's a good point.
anyways, that's our spiel on competitiveness, women. Um, Anything else, Steph? Do you have anything else to say? Or does Captain America?
Oh my God. Yes, do you like a shirt? No, I think that you definitely touched on a lot of things, and just want to echo, you know, how important like everything is that you touched on tonight.
Mhm,
And just to, like, if something's bothering you, like, kind of like focus on it, figure out what the root cause is, because it might be
mhm,
like something that further back, that you went through the burn, and
mhm.
it's affecting you and your current who you
Totally.
are, and
Yeah.
figure out what it takes to what's
Mhm,
it going to take to fix or help the situation, because you don't
mhm.
want to carry that chip
No, and
forever.
I don't think you should ever even let that deter you from applying for things or getting ahead or pursuing things. Because I think
Right.
a lot of times people take that as like a
Hmm.
rejection, and they're like, and they just stay in the same spot forever. And the thing is like, it shouldn't have to end that way. You should still try, and I think that's what people should take with that is don't give up, like keep going, don't let one situation ruin your future, you know or other
Perfectly said.
people.
Exactly.
So
Well said, Neen.
but anyways,
Awesome.
that's all
Thank
for
you.
Fridays with me.
And that's all you have for Friday.
Yes, it's today. Gosh, yeah, and it is going to be a nice 3-day weekend for everybody,
Oh
so
man, I am stoked. Guys,
mhm,
have an
for
amazing
real.
Friday when you guys are
Yes.
playing this, because normally you're listening to us on your way to work. I'm just pretending I know. But you're probably at home having a good cup of coffee,
Hmm.
getting ready to start your day, and you've already kicked it off on a good note with
Heck yeah.
Neen.
Yeah.
And she's given you lots to think about, and how you could just improve your overall quality of life, get
Hmm.
rid of those demons, get rid of
For
them.
real. Don't sweat the small stuff,
Yeah, there you go. I
you
like
know?
that.
Yeah. Be your own advocate.
Ah, enough said. That was amazing.
Yeah. But anyways.
Amazing. Well, thank you
Oh,
so much again, Neen. And this was fun and enlightening.
thank you.
And here's me lifting your crown for you and
Aw,
adjusting it.
likewise. And can you hear that?
Yeah, I did. That was nice and crunchy.
Right?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive. I'm gonna go get myself one of those damn apples tomorrow.
Yeah. Yes. And just for the record, Presley said it was a golden apple crisp. Is that
Oh,
what that golden? Oh no, a golden delicious.
mm,
I don't know what that is, but I'm
I don't
sure
either. I
it was
didn't see that
good.
on the list, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
look for something golden, and I'm gonna try. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just get a variety of apples this weekend
There you go.
and
Have you
see
ever
which one I
seen a
like.
pink apple?
Yeah, the pink lady.
Is that what it is? Because this one's
Yeah,
actually all pink. Is that a pink lady?
yeah,
Oh man, those are good.
yeah. They are.
Ew.
They're very
Mm.
good. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna do an
apple day
apple.
keeps the doctor away.
There you go. I'm gonna do an apple
Mm.
medley and get back to you guys and let you know which one my favorite truly is. Because
I
I'm
love
set.
that.
Yeah, I'm settling for Granny Smith. I have a feeling, but yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Nothing wrong with that.
This has been another episode of Fridays with Neen. It was quite enlightening and inspiring, and we had fun, Neen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you, everyone, and happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day. Thank you, Tony, and to all the vets. And until next
Yeah,
time.
God bless America.
You know what? I'm not even going to end it. I'm just leave it at God bless America. I can't. I have to
Right?
end it. Catch you on the flip side.
Oh, yeah. Peace out, buddies.
I feel like it's bad luck if we don't do it now at this
I
point.
know, for real. Same